Now, finally tonight, the Banksy artwork painted on the side of a garage in Port Talbot back in 2018 could end up leaving the town and the country in pieces. Wales Live understands the mural is set to leave the town for good next Tuesday, but its owner says there are complications over the cost of removing it from its current building. Well, since it suddenly appeared, it's inspired new artworks, debates about climate change, as well as attracting vandals too. So how will this extraordinary story end, and what will it all mean for Port Talbot in the end? Will Fife has more.
Since it arrived just before Christmas 2018, the Banksy artwork in Port Talbot has inspired both wonder and madness in equal measure. And now, after years of twists and turns, it looks like its time in the town will finally end next week. And it's an ending that's set to disappoint many here.
People were just coming from all over the place, you know what I mean? You know, we had people coming from America, China, you know, from Devon, this country, all over the place. You know, it was all right. It was funny because everyone in Port Talbot went there first, you know what I mean? And then it went from Port Talbot, Swansea, up the valleys.
My best friend phoned me because he was the next door neighbour. Outside his house, it was just chaos. You know, he couldn't get to his house with his car and everything because people just come from everywhere.
There was a lot of people from all over the country visiting Port Talbot, which they probably have never been to before, probably never heard of.
Banksy special, isn't he? This is put in Port Talbot for a reason. You know, it is for the steelworks, the rubbish that comes out of the steelworks. But we live in Port Talbot, we just get on with it, you know what I mean? I wouldn't want to live anywhere else but Port Talbot. But Banksy put it here for a reason.
Art dealer John Brandler bought the painting 3 years ago. Part of that deal included a promise to leave it on display in the town. But that arrangement ended last month, and repeated fallings out with local authorities mean it now looks certain to move next week.
We're probably about 100 yards away from my property where I live, and behind me is the garage where the Banksy was originally painted.
So have you got a garage near here as well?
I have. I wish it would be painted on my garage.
Looking back, do you think the council could have done anything else to keep the Banksy here?
I think it's very difficult when an item is in private ownership to come to an agreement that satisfies both the private owner and the public purse.
Do you think you'd welcome Banksy back again?
I would certainly encourage Banksy to come back to Port Talbot. I think it would be a good idea. Perhaps pick a location that's owned by the council, and then we would have total control on it and be able to retain it in Port Talbot.
The ambition, according to the artwork's current owner John Brandler, was always to try to keep it in the town and create a lasting street art exhibition. However, the past 3 years have seen frequent fallings out between Mr. Brandler and local authorities, and he says he now feels the piece has to move on.
As things stand, it's coming out on the 8th of February, being put on a lorry, and it's going into the University of Suffolk in Ipswich for a period of years.
The complication now is that Mr. Brandler says he could face a bill of tens of thousands of pounds to move the painting because the glass wall where it's housed needs to be removed for it to be taken out. He says that means there's now a 50% chance he could end up dismantling the piece completely.
If it got broken up, gets broken up. If it gets put back together again, it's so fine. You know, restorers can do wonders with paintings. This is on concrete blocks. And it means I can put them in the back of a transit and drive off with it.
And can you ever see yourself ending up in a situation where this particular piece makes its way back to Wales again?
Probably just after hell freezes over.
We're here tonight now to say goodbye to Banksy, the Banksy mural. It's just a celebration, really. It's not going to be like a sad sort of event. We know the Banksy's going. We know it's going. We're just going to say goodbye to the Banksy.
I live just around the corner where this was actually done. and it inspired me to write the song called Black Smoke. Enjoy.
Well, I think on the positive side, one of the great things to see is how much it has been a catalyst for all kinds of things. Catalyst for debate. Everyone was incredibly excited about the fact that Banksy had chosen to do a piece in the town. And at the same time, I think some people were also a bit like, what's he saying about our town? It was a catalyst for creativity from people within the town as well. But there's been poetry and songs and other artworks being done, and that's been fantastic. On the negative side, I suppose, it's in terms of the kind of official talk of what was going to happen, very little of that has really materialized, and what has been done, I think, is a little bit uninspiring, really. I mean, when I've gone down to try and look at it, it is quite difficult to see, and I suppose in some ways follows a pattern as well, where, there's something of great potential in the town, a lot of great ideas, but the ambition and the vision doesn't really materialize. And then, the thing of real value tends to get extracted from the country and goes off into England. It's an old story, isn't it?
Black smoke's gonna make you choke. Black smoke's gonna make you choke. Black smoke gonna make Banksy's boy choke.
And Will joins us now. And also with us is Banksy expert Professor Paul Gough. Welcome to both of you. Will, first of all, lots of voices there, lots of reaction. What is the council saying tonight, though?
Well, Neath Port Talbot Council, I think, would probably have liked to have held on to the piece for a little bit longer, but they've told me that they were quoted £100,000 a year to keep a hold of it over the next 5 years, and that, they say, is money that they just simply can't afford to spend at the moment, particularly considering that we're in a pandemic as well. Now, what they have done, and what they tell me they're going to continue to do, is try to encourage more street artists to come into the town to paint other pictures on walls, so it won't quite be a world-admired artist, but they'll try to make up with it with quantity over quality, I suspect.
Professor Gough, what do you think Banksy would make of all this that's going on in Port Talbot at the moment?
Well, Banksy's always chooses his location very, very carefully. Nothing's done by accident. So he chose Port Talbot, he chose that corner, and he chose the timing and the paintwork with exact science. I think he would recognise that street art is a bit of a contact sport. It stands it is, but most people, he'd be pretty upset it's being taken away. It's taken away from a power, it's going to go to a paywall.
It's not a great line. Maybe Banksy's playing with us tonight, but I just wonder, you say he makes the most of a location, he researches it, but of course it looked amazing in front of the steelworks there. But also the impact on the owner of the garage. Does he research that and who owns what? And because it wasn't easy for that owner, was it?
No, it rarely is easy for the owners of anything. They're kind of gifts with conditions. But there are 11 million people around the world will know about Port Talbot, and they will know the work, and they will have enjoyed seeing that piece of work. So Banksy's ideas go out into the world, and that's really sensational.
Will he try again in Wales, do you think?
Eventually, of course, when he finds the right time, the right moment, and the right surface, he will pop up anywhere. Very unpredictable, but look at the impact it's had, and look at the impact on that community in Port Talbot and all those singers and all that festival and the cat that it has been for the debate around, the industry, the ecology, the environment. I think it's a powerful mixture, and that's just one artist. It's so wonderful to see it, really.
Yeah, and you've frozen slightly there, so I'll go back to Will. I mean, the impact on the town, Will, has been immense. When it goes, and it goes to Ipswich, what will the town say? What will they think?
I think there's going to be a sense of loss. I think the thing with these paintings is when they come up, when they crop up, the entire area, the entire town feels a sense of ownership over it. So that's definitely the case in Port Talbot, and I think a lot of people will be feeling quite sad to see it go. Local businesses in particular, who prospered from the crowds that were coming to see it originally, will feel it going.
And what about the former owner? What is he saying?
Yeah, so he wasn't in the piece. I did speak to the former owner, Ian Lewis. He's maintained throughout the whole thing, really, that despite the positives that have come with it, he still wouldn't have selected to have it painted on his garage. So I think he might be a bit relieved.
And as things stand, it goes on Tuesday?
As things stand, goes on Tuesday, yeah. Either out the door in pieces, as John Brandler was saying, or they'll take the front wall off, get a crane and load it up onto a lorry and take it off down the M4.
All right. Will Fife, Professor Goff, thank you very much for bearing with us. Thank you both.